Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Sunday afternoon. We have the Epic Cup playoffs for Heroes Launch Season 12, I think. That's a lot of seasons. I have even the wrong name here. Very unfortunate. But joining me, the Pico Spammer himself, it is not Samu, it is actually Josh. Welcome.
Pico, well, it's actually Josh. First sound is soft, but yeah, Epic Cup, a little bit less rare than the Rare Cup, but sure as hell more epic. And our first matchup, EnCore versus the Dutchmen, two teams from Division 4, the higher division in this cup.
Yes, there's a lot of Division 4 teams here. I haven't seen any Division 5 team. I believe on the Under channel we have Johnny Sin's Butt Buddies, which is a Division 5 team, I think. And then we have Jaina the Frost Mage. So on the other channel, Samu and Aviator will be giving you that game. And we are basically ready to go, I believe. We have all the teams in the lobby. We have a match coming up. So what happened with the map drafts, Josh?
Well, first of all, I looked it up, and actually no Division 5 team made it to the playoff day, which is extremely sad. But after Division 7 basically swept the Rare Cup, we might need to take a break from those stronger divisions and watch weaker teams play, right?
Very true, very true.
Yeah, in terms of the map draft, the Dutchmen got the map pick, and therefore the first map ban, taking out Tomb of the Spider Queen. In retaliation, EnCore have banned out Sky Temple, to which the answer was Ultra Pass. Battlefield of Eternity was our last map ban, and we ended up playing Towers of Doom as our first map of the day.
Yeah, very cool. I like the map. You have a bunch of options on how to go about winning, because there's no way to cheese this map. You just need to have a good draft. You need to be able to play for late game. I believe they're asking if we are ready, so you can just give them the go-ahead. Just a little bit of info here on the teams themselves. EnCore ended 4th in Division 4 and they won their Group B. The Trying Dutchmen ended 7th in Division 4 and they ended up 2nd in Group C. So they maybe even faced off in the normal season. I'm not sure whether that's the case or not, but could be a grudge match. Someone wants revenge here. What do you think we're going to see here in this draft on Towers of Doom, Josh?
To be fair, with all of the teams in the playoffs coming up from Division 4, there's bound to be a lot of previous history between them. As about the draft, both teams have shown a strong affinity for Deckard. The old man is actually both teams' first pick most of the time, like most picked hero. 11 picks on the side of EnCore and 14 picks on the side of the Trying Dutchman.
Those are a lot of picks.
Johanna comes second for both teams with 8 and 13 respectively. And there is a Liming ban, which does not show up on the stats that I've written down, but you do need to be aware of those cheeky little things that your opponent may bring to the table. Sylvanas is actually a second most banned hero by the Trying Dutchman with 11 bans.
Okay.
The game so far.
Yeah. So a lot of assassins being removed there in the early bans. Usually those are reserved for like really strong heroes, or like what's considered OP. Maybe they are trying to pick something up themselves here. Soul gets removed here, good double soaking. But normally like it's like tank support or like broken stuff. None of this strikes me as like, oh yeah, that's a strong ban. Maybe they know something I'm not aware of here, like they have a good living player, for example.
I mean, this is actually an interesting example because I believe both teams have pretty much the same setup. They do want to draft essentially the same composition, and therefore trying to ban each other out is somewhat akin to banning yourself out, which is why both teams will just prefer to take picks that are generally annoying and trying to cut possible cheeses as shown with this hammer ban.
Yeah, the hammer removal was not what I expected at all. Cassia picked up though. She's still quite strong despite being tuned down over time here. The Surge of Light explosion is just so much damage. It's kind of absurd. So strong assassin first pick here, but still you have a lot of options on the other side. All the tanks are still available, all the supports are available, so if you want to lock in your comfort, this might be the time to do it. We see the Johanna and we see an Ana next to it. What do you think?
Well, Anna is an interesting case because Anna was actually banned by the Trine Dutchmen most of the time. 17 is the number of games in which Anna has been banned, which is truly interesting to me. Cassia is a little bit of a comfort pick, and Core has shown some proficiency with her on the 8 games that they have played with the Amazon. And Johanna, once again, a very popular hero between those teams, Deckard as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're trying to snipe their comfort share, it seems. So Deckard, as you mentioned, very high priority on both sides, and we now see him before the second round phase. It's really good to set up. Heroics is pretty strong. Lack of cleanse can be a downside, but still a pretty solid support. He can be quite a playmaker as well. Like if you play, I know that now Ruby is very popular with him, but the Emerald slow, you can set up things on your own on the support, which can be quite powerful.
I mean, Deckard is an interesting case because he doesn't exactly have clans, but I do believe that a stay a while and listen on every single person of the enemy team does count as a clans, in my opinion, because the enemy team will not be able to do anything with the root and the setups that they've got, and that's basically what you're going for. Ruby is an interesting case because Ruby heals a lot, and I mean a lot. There were a bunch of calls to nerf that talent. But you do need to pick up those potions, and they usually spawn in the enemy team. But in the meta, there are a lot of dive heroes usually, for example, the Cassia, which Jersey has already picked, and on the first pick no less. And the Ruby can be able to provide a lot of potential, and Deckard can be used to great effect, as demonstrated by Just Cause yesterday.
Mm-hmm. So Blaze picked up here, I assume for the offline now, recently reworked. Reworked talent changes. So that should be fun to see. The Mephisto as the first available ranged assassin. I was gonna say, there's not that, like, there's a lot of ranged assassins removed in this draft so far, and EnCore has picked up what they want already. They're gonna go for a variant together with Leoric here. What do you think?
Ooh, I think that actually might be cluing us into the plan of EnCore for this map, trying to go for an Entomb Feast combo, potentially with a taunt on top of it, and Cassia's ability to find single target pickoffs with the Valkyrie is unrivaled usually. I like the Blaze. I like the Blaze after the changes. He can now double soak rather efficiently because the main problem with his talents is that the talent that provided him with a lot of wave clear also ignited the oil skill, which
it actively hindered, like it was actively hurting his team fighting, which is not good.
And now the talent essentially has been buffed a lot by just removing that feature. A very interesting case of an indirect buff of the talent without necessarily raising any numbers up. And Vala chosen on the last pick.
Yeah. Two pretty solid lineups. Nano Boost Mephisto is going to be pretty scary, especially with Deckard on the other side. He doesn't really have the burst. Like burst that we heal, I wouldn't call his strength. Like he has good sustain healing, but I think they have a pretty good damage matchup in that case with the Mephisto here. Limited CC for EnCore might be a bit tough to like chunk down these two tanks. They're very tanky frontline and then kind of squishy backline, and EnCore doesn't really dive, do they? They kind of have to kill frontliners here, it seems.
I mean, do you really need to dive when you can just kill people instead?
Mephisto, that is a good point.
I am a little bit wary about Mephisto because you do leave a shadow, which if your tanks are not on top of it enough, you can be a very easy target for follow-up because the enemy team does know where you will end up. And unlike the Tracer, for example, with her Rewind, you can't blink away right afterwards to try and catch the opposing side on some reaction type. stuff. So a little bit scared for the Mephisto, but I think Johanna and Blaze is more than enough of a front line to provide cover for Sleep there.
Yeah,
We are moving into the game, so...
So here we have them. It's the Trying Dutchman in red on the right. It's Willie B on the Ana, Slimp on the Mephisto, Hunter Zero playing the Vala, that has to be, Eric's the Swift on Blaze, and Kefi playing Johanna.
And on the left, we have EnCore with Thirsty choosing up the Cassia, Yibikasa on Varian, Op Kebab playing the Leoric, No Pro is on the Orphea, and Hellcore choosing up the Deckard with Sapphire on level 1. You talked about those slow engages. We might potentially see some of them.
Yeah, absolutely. 3-man positioning in the bottom already here for EnCore. They don't really want this middle brawl, it seems. They don't really have a tank until level 4, realistically speaking, so Varian now just has to kind of sit and wait and passively hold this lane. We'll see if they can clean this up on
time. I think
time.
you really need to wait with the setup of EnCore to start showing things, because you do need to wait at least for a taunt to start getting some chance to take a target down, and especially at level 10 is where the setup will truly start shining. And the team on the left has drafted a little bit easier to execute from level 1, and they can potentially look for the picks right about now, even if it would be a little bit hard with EnCore actively evading all of the fighting.
Yeah, so this 4-man rotation isn't actually losing any XP. The globes there stick around long enough for Johanna to pick them up. Both teams immediately going for the camps here, I like it. Very important focus here for bottom lane to be able to keep those under your control.
Actually trying to flex a little bit with the fact that you are a Johanna, you can get that iron skin and just walk away, so why not check on what your opponents are doing and maybe even potentially find a cheeky fight, find a kill and steal away the camp, which would be a huge momentum break. Yeah. It doesn't work out, but that was a low risk play, so why not
go for it? They're on the bottom, looking for some damage as well. Deckard has the healing potions though. Yeah, so far their Claire has been pretty safe in bottom, Varian holding in mid, but now with the Sappers pushing in, it becomes a little bit more sketchy, but they're able to get away there.
I actually don't like this rotation up mid from the Trying Dutchman. I would have preferred if they stayed on the bottom a little bit longer and ensured that the Sappers do damage to the wall, because those Sappers damage is nothing to sniff at. And you definitely do want them to be working for you. Unfortunately, this time around, they tried to go for a rotation on the variant, which didn't work out. Both teams now having their level 4, however, which does open up some opportunities to engage with the taunt.
Well, they go for Blaze in mid here. Taunt interrupts the charge though. Has another one here, uses the Pyromania trait. A lot of armor here for the Blaze, very chunky. Big engage in the middle now, counter engage.
Is there, no Pro, gonna fall quite low, but is staying quite healthy so far. Hunter Zero, however, overstepping a little bit, although hashtag never punished is in effect. Eric the Swift gonna get engaged on by Thirsty. Although Kefi is there to provide the disengage for the Blaze, who will just E away to safety. Another taunt comes out, but it comes out on the Johanna, not exactly the target you can burst down, although they do get very close to it.
Yeah, this is a really interesting back and forth there. Leoric capping both altars in the top as his 4-man is chasing down a 5-man, funny as that sounds. And he will probably be joining up again.
Kind of a big problem of that big fight, because while the red side were trying to fight, they actually were on the back side the entire fight as well. They were trying to retreat, and they were all clumped up in the bottom, which just does allow Leoric to go and take both top altars in the first phase, which is the thing that we almost never see.
Yeah, basically, it's very rare to lose all 3 altars here, but because of this initial rotation onto the Blaze and then a counter engage and then a counter engage, as you can see, this is the end result. Levels are still exactly the same, no kills, but just the effect of hit points and trading here.
Still feeling happy about themselves. Sorry, trying to find an engage on the enemy camp, but the engage might have just found themselves as Eric the Swift joins the form, and once again, a little bit too eager to help his teammates Eric the Swift. Usually not the worst thing to do, but sometimes it can be to your detriment, as demonstrated by the Leoric earlier today. The taunt comes out on Kathy, but here's the stun to interrupt and disengage for the Johanna, who, after nerfing her D, after increasing that cooldown, can actually be bursted down more reliably as well.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Iron Skin now, with the Aldrigon upgrade, it's back to 20 seconds. Yay! It used to be 20 seconds baseline. It was a pretty damn good talent, and very strong for her as the main tank there. Slight XP lead for the blue team here, as you said. Blaze very eager to join his team for potential rotations, but so far it hasn't turned into any kills. But now, once again, it's going to be a 5-on-5 here. Johanna very deep in the enemy team. Takes a lot of damage as he is there on skin. Big condemned though. If he's doing some damage, big stun from the Blaze as well. Will this be first blood? Almost. It's gonna be Johanna down with Orphea confirming the first kill here. Epica's in a bit of trouble. Mephisto chasing him down. Another taunt available perhaps.
Just keep on rolling. Hibikasa going in on Vala, and the Cassius E will finish out that kill. 2-0 ahead now on Core, finding the taunt on the Ana as well, and that could potentially be a kill, but the sleep dart comes out just in time.
Yeah, EnCore looking pretty damn good here. Trying Dutchmen, unfortunately, not quite able to confirm any kills here. With some scaling though from Mephisto in particular, it's going to be pretty damn scary. You have Blaze Bunker coming in probably as well, although we could maybe see a combustion, I'm not sure here. Level 10s for the team in blue. What are we seeing?
And that is indeed a feast combination from the side of EnCore. We do have a Warbringer on the side of Taunt. We do have the Valkyrie and the Entomb to try and secure those setups. And stay well and listen. The big playmaker on the side of Decker also brought up in ultimate places.
Sorry, I just had a memory. We got Omega wrecked by EnCore and their Orphea. This is like an Orphea one trick with an absurd amount of games on it. So I would expect to see some spicy plays coming out here.
But the ultimates on the other side are coming out as well. We do see the Vessel of Hate, the Nano Boost, the Blaze being bursted down despite having the bunker not being able to press it just yet. The Blast Shield, the Rain of Vengeance, is going to be the last ultimate picked up by Hunter Zero, who gets Entombed, uses the Rains of Vengeance to try and keep himself safe for the duration of Entomb just to leap afterwards, but the plan does not exactly work, and the Johan is bursted down. 4-0, 40-20, and if this was a quick match game, I was definitely gunning for 40-0 at this point.
Yeah, I hope for the sake of the trying Dutchman that that's not going to happen. That would be very demoralizing. But EnCore is looking really good so far. Very crisp pair. They're very good at counter engaging, it seems. Like Leoric was rotated on by 2. They bring up 3 to come and counter. They get the Vala kill. It's looking really strong from them.
I mean, there are two sides to every coin, and I think that it's not just EnCore being great. Like, EnCore are obviously great. You don't go that far ahead if you aren't good at the game, but their opponents are also a little bit too eager to find those engages. The Feast comes out as well as the Entomb, and Orphea finally dies. That's the first kill for the Triumph Dutchman in this game. Vessel of Hate hitting 3 people, but stay a while and listen will sleep 4. Leoric dies anyway. Will be trying to sleep down Hellcore, but the only damage coming out as a follow-up will be the W of the Mephisto. And they finally get the 4 shots into the core of EnCore, and it will not be a sweep.
No, their levels are just perfectly even again. And this is the beauty of Towers of Doom, in my opinion. The game is never over until your core dies. And even if you convert one of the bell towers to your favor, there are ways to get it back. There are ways to fight. You can find angles, etc. So I would just call this game pretty even now. They found a good pickoff there on the Orpha, which I think is really key. If they can kind of keep her under control, I think that would be very good for the Triumph Dutchman here.
And I think that the Feast engage did not hit as well as they wanted it to, because the only one caught on the Entomb was the Blaze, who just found the stun on the Orphe and got the setup for the kill for the Vala, who was doing damage for the wall.
Rotating in here. Sneaky.
36 to 20. Now I would be tilted if this was a quick match. The Valkyrie coming out on Slim, but Mephisto can just blink out. Vessel of Hate on 2, but Mephisto still dying out. And Gimekasa trying to find an engage on Kefi. But this is the Rain of Vengeance, the Sleep, and the Orphe is dead once again. The trying Dutchmen, they are trying Dutch. They are really trying.
Yeah, they are. Good counter kill there, very important for them. Able to punish a bit of a over-eagerness there on the Orpheus side. But yeah, the rotations coming in from these offlaners have been kind of the name of the game. They are trying to find another interrupted charge, perhaps.
Comes out on the Blaze. We do see the Unstoppable from Eric the Swift, who just is out of the danger.
Yeah, but he's now really chunked down.
On the map, spawning up in the bot lane, the fact for which EnCore are not quite prepared, but for which they will be already after this first interrupt comes out on Kefi.
I really worry for Blaze's hit points in this fight. It's gonna be hard to bring him back up. Let's see if it matters here. He's holding the front line right now. Gets taunted once again.
Finding the all skills on every single approach. The bunker will be used to cancel the
big stun though.
Beast. Blessed Shield will be used to save Kefi, as well as the Iron Skin. However, Eric the Swift gets Valkyrie, and that's going to be a single target pickoff that we were talking about. Hunter Zero losing a lot of damage due to that Cassie engage, and Hellcore's Sleep will set up a kill on Mephisto, who just blinks back into the action. Can't help it.
Yeah, it seems difficult for the Trying Dutchmen to find and engage on their own terms. There's always something coming their way. There's either a taunt or an entomb, or there's a Cassia, Valkyrie. There's just something that they have to deal with every time. And when those engages fail from the side of EnCore, then yeah, Trying Dutchmen can certainly fight back, but they are very often finding themselves getting run down, as it were, and they seem to be struggling so far.
I mean, and that's a point where you even try to rethink your strategy. Do you even need to engage? You can just wait until your opponent engages for you and try to re-engage. We have seen a lot of amazing re-engages from the teams already, and this still will be no different as EnCore just move in, Trying Dutchmen, recognizing that they are down a talent and will not just go for it. Iron Skin pressed a little bit early. I actually quite like it because it stops the taunt and stops all of the follow-up, which could have been there. But it does allow 6 sappers into the tower pretty much dooming it to death. Opkebab finding a flank, but will get slapped before he's able to entomb.
Yeah, good push here from EnCore. They convert the first bell tower of this game after 12 minutes. That's a pretty good hold so far, I would say, for both sides, honestly. Quite even, although the team fighting seems to be favoring EnCore. Trying Dutchman holding on so far. There's a triple altar spawn. It's going to be a spicy one. Let's see if EnCore can do it once again. They do the EnCore. They get all 3. It seems unlikely, but hey, weirder things have happened, right?
And the worst part, even if they get all 3, they are still 1 shot away from getting that victory on map number 1, which is rather unfortunate, and which does imply that they will not be trying to get all 3 that hard. And indeed, we do see a split on the top 2 as Leoric and Blaze are not willing to fight each other for this, and the Shrine Dutchman will just take a 3-5 trade. But the engage coming out in the mid lane, Hunter Zero gonna get entombed. That's a quite nice entomb by Opkebab, but the follow-up isn't quite there. The bunker is here to save Zavala as well. Meanwhile, Kefi is fighting with Yebekasa in the other part of the fight with Johanna. Staying alive just barely and evading everything. 100 HP on the Johanna, but the sleep comes out on 2. The Valkyrie is there on the Blaze, who just started in away, and the kill on Zavala comes out as well. Slim gonna blink out from the initial engage, but that means that he will blink back into the damage. Mephisto killed as well. The bot ultra is taken, and the Trying Dutchmen are on 6.
Yeah, they're probably gonna be on 2 here in a very short moment. I want to go back to this fight there. They were so stuck in this little choke for Trying Dutchman to try to get that poke in. It's the effect of having to play back. So position into that fight was very awkward for them, and it did lead to Johanna being split off. She didn't die in the end, but it was essentially like both tanks were off the grid, and then just seems that EnCore have been consistently able to outfight them. with the Orphea, with the Cassia there. Always a threat with the Valkyrie in particular to get any backliner.
I think the biggest thing in this particular fight was the fact that Varian was able to force Johanna to go way back. Meanwhile, the Entomb Feast combo comes out and Vali is already fallen victim to it. However, the trade comes out on the Valkyrie, on the Cassia, and Hellcore is gonna fall low, but is not gonna fall down while the Trine Dutchmen are trying a little bit too hard, overexerting themselves and dying in the end of it. The Mephisto is dead, the Johanna is dead, and that's going to be a GG as the Sappers will push the remaining damage into the core.
Yeah, very solid game here from EnCore. I like what they showed off here, and yeah, just super good play. Like the Orphea very impactful. The Varian, Leoric, Cassia kind of mix of different threats. Seemed to be too much to handle for the Trine Dutchmen in this game. We'll see what they come back with here in the map 2. GG.
Yeah, what would you change if you were the Trine Dutchman? You know that House of Doom is a map where there usually is some kind of hope spot, but when that hope spot is you not allowing your opponent to get a 40-0, it is becoming quite a savage loss. How will you recover from that? What will you choose, for example, first pick or the map pick?
So it was Towers was their own map. Maybe they just want the first pick to be able to find something they really want, like they really want the Deckard. Maybe they really want, I don't know what else it might be, but they can just focus on that. If they think they have a chance to teamfight them, maybe you adjust your bans a bit. I really don't know why a hammer was banned here, for example. Maybe they just have some fear of it. They lost to it or something in a previous game. It's impossible for me to tell, but I don't know, like, get what you really want, or you pick out a strategy you already have prepared for a map specifically. Like, you want to play this map, you want to do this thing, and then you just kind of, you more or less ignore what your opponents would do standard. Instead, you get rid of the counters to what you're trying. So, for example, I don't know, let's say, okay, so the cheesiest example, which I know you're a great fan of, Juice Pirates. If you know you want to do Juice Pirates, then you get rid of Falstad, you get rid of Serotool, and you get rid of something else that has a good, like, no, you're not going to do this thing, right? And it doesn't matter what your opponents are doing, and you can obviously scale that back, right? Let's say you want to play Alex Strasa on Infernal Shrines, then you get rid of Anna, you get rid of Junkrat, and you don't care what they're doing, because you get to have the really good healing and the really good value from the Dragon on the Shrines. So that is
Speaking of Infernal Shrines, that is going to be a map that's going to get chosen by EnCore as the Trine Dutchman secures the first pick for their second map.
All right.
Infernal Shrines a lot different of a map, in my opinion. It is a little bit bigger. There is a lot more opportunities to play around the camps to get some of the macro game going. And yes, it is choose piratable. For example, you can't exactly choose pirates on Towers of Doom, although I'm pretty sure the Bacon Mellors have tried it sometime. But Infernal Shrines are definitely a whole different beast.
Yeah, it is. The most played map by far in this in the lounge overall. I'm sure it's going to be very high in the playoffs generically as well. And as a reminder, we have another game going on Channel 1 that's hosted by Someone Aviator. That's Jonathan's Butt Buddies versus Jaina the Frost Mage. Coming up next on this channel, we have Owl Exterminators versus Hands Up. Apparently a very sought after game. I know Aviator really wants to see that game, but unfortunately he's also casting it on the other channel. So
this match was actually highlighted as probably the quarterfinal to watch, and I'm actually quite happy that I got to watch both quarterfinals that are probably the most highlight ones in both the Rare Cup and the Epic Cup, because yesterday I got to watch Just Cause versus Beehive. Unfortunately, that game a little bit underwhelming. after all of the expectations, but so far we do have Infernal Shrines as our second map. It's actually the map that was picked the most against both of the teams. It has been picked 6 times against EnCore and 7 times against the Dutchmen.
Okay. So they still
So-
seem fine playing it then, I assume.
And I mean, Infernal Shrines is basically the quintessential Heroes of the Storm map. I think that if we had only one map, it probably would be the Infernal Shrines. Because
Yes.
even if it wasn't the first map introduced during the development, I think the first one were Black Huts Bay and Garden of Terror, I think.
There's
And Cat
yes.
Hollow, of course.
So
But I think the mechanics of Infernal Shrines and just the setup of Infernal Shrines works a lot better and a lot simpler than those of Cursed Hollow, for example.
yeah, they certainly learned to make a good map coming into both Battlefield of Eternity as well as Infernal Shrines, because they were kind of adjacent in time. I don't actually remember which one was first, but
I
They
think Battlefield
came
was
out about
first, but yeah, then we got Braxis and the Forehead Junction, which does
Yeah.
mean that sometimes more experience is less gooder, but the teams seem to be ready. The teams,
Yeah.
and let's see how will Dutchmen try to bounce back from the loud clap that was the House of Doom map.
Or will EnCore just run it back, give us an encore, and have another solid performance here? We'll see as we go into the draft, which should be happening any moment now. In the meantime, never mind, we have a draft. So
In the meantime, we have a draft.
yes, I'll just do this very shortly. On August 8th, we have a charity event hosted by Fictional and Skylore in support of the Black Lives Matters movement as well as the Pride movement. So check up on additional info on the Discord announcements as well as a write-up on the Heroes Lounge website. So we have some cool stuff going on there. You can participate in a tournament. It's paying a little bit of money for the charity, and then you can participate. So I think it's a good initiative, and I'm happy to see it. But to this draft, trying Dutchmen, get rid of Sylvanas once again.
And well, Sylvanas is actually a bit of a highlight pick from the Epic Cup. You don't see as much Sylvanas in the rare divisions, but in the Epic divisions, it has been picked a lot more. For example, both of the teams that we will cast later on, our Exterminators and Hands Up, both have a lot of focus on Sylvanas in the drafts. Although those two teams, EnCore and the Trine Dutchmen, don't exactly have a lot of just numbers on Sylvanas, numbers of picks, numbers of bans, but we can still see that it is a highlight pick, as well as a lot of other wave clear mages. Chain is banned out, Orphe is banned out. What surprises me as a rare cup player is that KT is still open.
Very true, very true. No pro with the surprised emote there. About the Orphea being banned. I wouldn't give it to them either. Imperius removed her as well. Deals a lot of damage, has a lot of stats. Can be quite difficult to deal with if you don't have just good tools to kill him off, basically. If he's allowed to run down your backline, they're basically gonna die, which is a slight issue, I would say. Also, the fact that you
came up huge in the Rare Cup this season. We did see him in both the main tank position, in the offlane position. He has a lot of things to do, and with how dive heavy the meta has become recently, he definitely can provide all of it. All of the world on one spear. The engages the Q has been deciding a lot of games in this season. Ana is going to be our first pick, answered by Azul and Cassia, not willing to pass up on those single target picks with the Valkyrie.
Yeah, it was pretty good last game, so I certainly see why they would do it here. Zul opted for here as it's available this game, unlike the last one. Ooh, a Tyrael and a Sonya here coming in. Quite aggressive, I would say, from Trying Dutchman. Really good Strangler from the Sonya, battles Azul quite well. Tyrael is the main tank.
Well, Tyrell
Yeah.
is actually a thing that the Trine Dutchmen do a lot. He is their fourth most picked hero with 11 games played, but he could have been even higher if not for those pesky other teams who have been banning Tyrell 11 different times against the Trine Dutchmen.
I see, I see.
Also, Juice Pirates, pick Morales and go core. Ana
Hmm.
is already picked, but don't look at that.
It's fine, you don't need that damage. Ooh, Bloodlust perhaps? That could be spicy. Despite its recent nerf, I still think Bloodlust is probably okay. I don't think you just run it every game like you used to, and Ancestral didn't get worse because Bloodlust got better, right? So Rhaegar still have a strong healer, has the cleanse, has some AoE healing, as well as probably the best shrine clear out of all the supports. Maybe Alex is like the second. Probably Alex is probably the second, but every other support is just bad.
Yeah, that's fair. And also, we do have the newcomer to the Nexus, the Mei. And maybe that is exactly the thing that EnCore need to sweep this second game. I have seen a very interesting combination between Mei and the Deathwing. And I'm not sure that it was played by EnCore, but if the Deathwing comes out here, that would be kind of spicy. Greymane and Kel'Thas coming out from the right, playing some traditional carries, some more common carries, and Kel'Thas, the terror of the Rare Cup, is finally in play.
Yeah, it's just a good match for this map, I would say. We are gonna see the Deathwing actually. So 4-man Deathwing then, it has to be, because he can't, like, I would just let Zool double soak here. And then you have your Deathwing just be really goddamn annoying. They did pick it into a Greymane, which is, you know, slightly scary perhaps. You probably need to get the protected plating on level 1 now for Deathwing, but you have ways
I,
to deal with the Curse Bullet.
I think that was actually EnCore that were trying to do this. Unfortunately, I can remember some highlight moments from a lot of the games that I have casted, but I have casted so many games that I'm kind of blanking out on the specifics. But the main reason this works is because Mei has a lot of slows, Mei has a lot of roots, and just a lot of frosty stuff, to which Deathwing works very well, just building Q, just all Q talents, and following up on the main gauges, and you are almost certain to proc your level 16 just because the enemies are slowed so much by the Mei, by the snowballs. Also, you do get the ice wall. Unfortunately, Avalanche is still banned because of a bug where you can yeet enemies out of the map. But ice wall, still a very, very solid way to set up those kills as well, because you do provide the... It's basically a ley line. They are frozen in time, and you can set up for it perfectly. You can queue perfectly on top of it. You can root them on time if you time it right.
Yeah, it's quite strong heroic, I would say. We'll see how it performs there. From EnCore, on the left, we have Ebikasa on the Mei, as mentioned. Helkaor is playing the Rhaegar, Dursty on Cassia, No Pro this time on the Deathwing, and Obkebab is playing the Zool.
And on the right, the Dutchmen are trying to get a map number 3 in this series, with Eric the Swift on the Sonya, Slimp playing the Kel'Thas, Hunter Zero on the Greymane, Billy B playing the Ana, and Keffi picking up a Tyrael for himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's some theories in chat here about not dealing with Sanct. And then the Ice Wall, as you say, is being mentioned as a possible way to deal with it. It's kind of a lot of resetup, but like you can Ice Wall people onto the Sanct, and I don't like at least after the Sanct it probably works. I don't know what actually happens if you Sanct, if you Ice Wall on top of a Sanct.
Ice Wall covers at least 75% of the Saint area, so that's definitely a solid way to make your opponents feel bad. Also, I think that people are not taking damage in the Sanctification, but they are not unstoppable, which does mean that you can root them with a Snowball, to which the follow-up is there in form of No Pros Breath. You can Ice Wall them as well. I think until level 20 you are not unstoppable. That's...
I thought Sanct worked like Divine Shield, you're unstoppable and everything.
I'll be
invulnerable,
honest, I
unstoppable.
don't remember. I don't.
Invade here though on the camp
Yeah.
with a Deathwing coming in, May on the point, and they're actually gonna be able to steal it here. Tyrael falls as the first death here. The very aggressive move from EnCore, not leaving anything unturned here. Good engage from them, and they pick up the camp together with a kill.
And also playing to the hero's strength, that's probably the thing that May can do the best just on her own. Finding the point and just sticking on top of it, preventing anyone else from entering it. You have the snowball to freeze enemies, you have the power slide in with the face melt attached to it to knock them away, you have your passive to stay on top of it for as long as possible, and both of your ultimates are designed to prevent enemies from capping points. So expect a lot of steals from the main player, at least that's my assessment of the hero.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. It's really difficult to get May off a point. It's really difficult. You basically need to kill her through the ice block, which is just a very frustrating thing to deal with.
Or just play Garrosh for her.
That is true. She might just come back and join you again though, booping you in the process. Eric the Swift, having to struggle a bit here into the Soul, who just easily double soaks this, no big deal.
EnCore take one of the hot camps. Will they be moving for the second one? And yes, Hibikase is already moving on top of it, just in time to get to the capture point, but not willing to go in 1v4.
I'm a bit surprised he doesn't try for it, actually. They saw Tyrael bottom, it was an opportunity to go, but they prioritized the Shrine ahead of it. They are ahead by almost a level, so I can see why you would make this play happen instead. Sonya here looking for a flank perhaps. Greymane gets stuck onto the big slowing and zoning here actually from both Deathwing and May here. Big fight, Sonya going in there, Tyrael looking at the backline, May falling quite low. Slides away though, big stun from the Deathwing here.
And the Deathwing roots cover a lot of areas there. The Kelthus will be dead in the result of one of those. The Snowball coming out to zone even more. Willy B not being able to join the fight at all, which does mean that the red side does not have any healing on the point. Effie falling very low. Hunter Zero not looking too great either. The Tyrael is gonna get roasted to death. Hunter Zero trying to finish up the kill on Thirsty, but the Tyrael's explosion will be the most of the damage and it will not be enough. The Frozen Punisher taken by the team in blue, and I actually quite like the fact that they played safe there, because we have already seen in map number 1 that EnCore are on paper and in-game better than the Trying Dutchmen. And if you try and take the fight, every fight is a chance to lose the fight. So if you are losing this fight, you're losing the first objective as well, and that's a Frozen Punisher, the one you probably never want to lose because it turns off buildings and makes the push so big for the winning side. For example, right now we see the 4 dying. Usually with the first Punisher it's just gonna be a wall.
Yeah, it's really good first value here from the Team Blue EnCore. Stealing a camp here for good measure as well. Tyrael doesn't really want to try to go in there. Something I want to point out though, they have one spin interrupt, which is the Deathwing double like knock-up thing. Sonya might be a problem late game is all I'm saying.
I mean, there are several interrupts. There is at least one interrupt to Sonya's spin on every single team, and that interrupt is called killing the Sonya.
Yeah.
So I think that might be the option that they will opt to go for. I will also mention the level 4 on the Cassian not willing to go for the nerf talent that increases health gain while moving, but the talent that just gives you a little bit of lifesteal and a little bit more lifesteal on the blinded targets.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting adaptation to the nerfs that we have experienced. No pro gonna play aggressively. You do have a lot of HP as the death in the health bar is probably the most annoying thing about that hero. This health bar is literally twice the size of a normal one, even if the normal health bar has more HP on it.
Yep. It's very true. It really feels like Trying Dutchmen are just getting pushed in. There's so much wave clear on all of these heroes. There's a Cassia, there's a Deathwing, there's a Rhaegar. And then May doesn't really wave clear, but she has amazing soul control. And then Soul is just running roughshod over this map. Sonya struggling really much to keep up here. You can see another wave just pushing into them. They can't find an engage. They rotated Sonya down, but they just can't do anything because it's never a secret, right? They always just see what's happening because of all these waves pushing.
And
So
even with the Sonya, even with the Kalphas, even with the Greymanes, the Trine Dutchmen are just being starved out of options. You don't see what they can do on this map besides just getting some waves. And their ultimates are finally coming out for them. However, we do see the Sanctification, we do see the Cast Bullet already doing a lot of damage to the Deathwing. Then boost the Phoenix and the Wrath of the Berserker. I would actually prefer the orange from the Kalphas. They're trying to potentially secure a cheeky kill on a target, but I can understand why Phoenix is picked. It's usually chosen.
I think how Trying Dutchmen win this is that you win the team fight, like the point fights, right? And then I think Phoenix would be the better choice there because it's just more AoE, more difficult to deal with. It is Ancestral out of Rhaegar as well, so no run it down with Bloodlust. I don't know how good Deathwing is with that. Also Bellowing Roar over Cataclysm, so that is actually like not that reliable interrupt for a spin or for Soterial Sanct, but it is good crowd control there coming in from the Deathwing.
Bellowing Roar is actually a solid counter to the Sanctification if it does not provide Unstoppable, and I just don't remember how it works. Anyway, we do see the fight breaking out on the objective. The Ice Wall onto the Cataclysm from No Pro. The Valkyrie will hit on top of Willy B, and the Ana is going to be no more. Tyrael and Sonya dying out as well. Hunter Zero not having an HP. Slim being engaged by Hellcar, and the Woofer will not be able to get the kill. 50 HP on the backing out.
That was a savage engage here. Ebikasa sets up the Wall of Frost, and then Deathwing just flies right over it. And the wall actually blocks them from going out on the choke. The only choke they can walk in through here for Trying Dutchman. So really nice engage coming in from EnCore here. Very strong combo here. And I really like what I'm seeing. Trying Dutchman will have to try really hard to be able to deal with this now.
And the Frostburn combo from EnCore just wrecking their opponents as of now. We do see the Punisher aggroed over the keep wall, but the keep wall is still a very nice pickup, especially if it's following the fort.
Yeah, I think it's really important here that they save this keep, and they do. Trying Dutchman once again, they need to fight over the points. They're gonna have one more fight on even talents, I think. It's gonna be hard to say actually. If they can find an opportunity here with 13, they might have to go for it. Sonya though still stuck in top, and Soul is just gonna be there so goddamn quickly, while another camp is being taken here by EnCore. They have such a grip on this map. It's really hard for Trying Dutchman to go anywhere right now.
So if you are the Trying Dutchman, what is your plan for the time being? Because nothing is happening on the map. Kathy will scout out the only possibility remaining, and there is a Swift actually joining the Foreman, which could be a potentially nice option, but level 13 will not be enough to secure the point because Kathy is a little bit too late. There's the Swift gonna get roasted for a lot of damage. The Sanctification comes out, but it will not be enough because the timer just kicks down, and after that the bodies start falling. The Tyrael is dead. Eric the Swift not looking too great, and Sleep is gonna be found out by the Valkyrie, by the Cassia. Kalphas is dead, Ana is dead, and the Sonya is the lone survivor. That could potentially be even the game with the mid finish or the bot finish.
They could. I think they're gonna get the keep here. If they get the kill, it's very good for them. That might actually let them go for it. But the death timers are so low that they need to kill them all again to be able to end realistically. They do have a full talent lead on them, which it could happen, but they don't have any heroics. On the other side, you have some of them back. They actually are able to save the keep again. I'm surprised that EnCore doesn't actually try more to get that off. Although they bring Soul in and they're just gonna go sieging here. I'm gonna get some resources back. And now with Bullet down, Deathwing can kind of do whatever he wants. Tyrael taking a lot of damage here in the front line. Sonya goes in with the Rat. Spear in, spin onto the whole team. Pretty immortal so far. See what
And
we
the
can do
Valkyrie
though.
coming out on Slim. The Kel'Thas will take a lot of damage from the level 16 burn as well, but will stay alive for the time being. Another snowball, another opportunity to queue enemies and do a lot of damage. Eric the Swift will definitely feel the frost burn there. And despite EnCore not actually doing a lot of damage to the fort, they are pretty much gumming everyone down in the bot lane and making sure that nothing happens while they are soaking until that level 20 pulse fight. I
Yeah.
actually quite like the idea of not trying to go for the keep, not trying to risk it too much, because you know that you are comfortably in the lead, you know that you are winning those fights in
Yeah.
all of the situations, and I have seen many a game being thrown on core, and EnCore definitely know a lot about staying on the core and going forward.
Yeah. So this is gonna be a rough one now. You're forced to fight. Although you can maybe give up this Punisher if you think you can get the 20 and without dying. Just get soaking, maybe even take bottom fort here for trying Dutchman. I would like something like that. Because there's no way you're gonna go up here and fight them, right? That just seems like suicide right now.
I think I like the idea that the Trine Dutchmen have. Just turbo soak around the map, try to get back as much experience as possible, try to get that lead as small as possible, and just give up that fort, give up that Punisher, you will not be able to do anything with it anyway. Take some camps over the map. I don't know when will be the next opportunity for you to take them even, because EnCore are so on top of the macro game on Infernal Shrine.
Yeah, they're with the full health Punisher, with the Mortar Punisher, it deals a lot of damage, but there's no actual CC, and then they are here running down top lane with Soul of Soaking, as you mentioned. 5-man defense here, still at a bit of a risk. They pull it over, they get Valkyrie onto the wall though.
And he actually goes through the gates there, the full stun coming out, but the Bellowing Roar will stop the spin. We do have Careful taking a bunch of damage. The Ice Wall hitting only the Ethereal, not the best ultimate from Yibikasa, but that's not exactly the point. They just need the Trine Dutchman to get off of them, and that works out. The Punisher will do a bunch of damage to the keep, and even if they will not get the explosive teamfight, even if they will not get the kill, they are only one level away, only 2/3 of a level away from level 20, and they are brought even closer to the victory.
Yeah, just a really good grip on this game from EnCore. They're not giving anything to try and Dutchman here. Like, there's no overextensions, there's no like greedy play, you know. There's just solid performances. They get top 4, they open the wall, they have more map pressure again because of Soul, they get closer to 20, and eventually they're just gonna close in on this death grip they have on this map. So trying Dutchman, they have a slight opportunity here. They need to dodge this vision now and then try to find their opponents, but they don't even know where they are.
I'm not quite sure what they are trying to do, trying to find the pick on the rotations to the bot lane, but Zul is happy sitting up top with the entire team in bushes trying to protect him with a gank, which is going to be the Hail
they're not
Mary
checking any of
plan
the bushes
EnCore
here
right on
either.
top of their opponents. However, the rotation will not be aggressive, and the plan does not work out.
Yeah, I was so nervous this whole time. They didn't check any of these bushes, right? How do you know where the opposing team are? Let's say you just find a Deathwing in there and he fares your entire team. It's such a Monka moment.
And look how this ends up. EnCore get level 20 and they instantly try to go for the keep. They instantly try to force a fight because they know that they are a lot, and I mean a lot, ahead of their opponents with that level 20 power spike.
Yeah.
We do have the Flash Freeze, the recently unbanned talent on the Maze. Ancestral Healing upgrade will come up huge in those fights, I believe. The Valkyrie missing there, but it is not that big of a cooldown, and you can definitely try to use it to get those cheeky pickoffs for yourself.
Yeah, nice try there. They go in instantly when they know a cooldown is down, so try to make something happen. And they actually have a positive health rate here. Question is, can they push them off more? They need to put some damage into something here, whether that is the death or not.
I actually like that even if they are ahead on levels, they aren't trying to force it, they aren't trying to dive, because diving means that you can potentially dive a little bit too deep, and then the opponent punishes you, and then the opponent has a way back into the game. And EnCore have been just starving opponent out of the options the entirety of the game. The Trine Dutchmen have nothing on the map to do. Roll is
Yeah.
a siege camp, but EnCore are on top of it. And you can sit on the bot lane for a while. The enemies are just hitting on level 19, soon TM. And you have a lot of time to try and get a fight, to wait for an overextension from the
Yeah.
opponent. And
just
Shrine Dutchmen are up against the walls there.
yeah, they really are. Just look at this map. They have a camp in the middle push against them. They have a camp on the catapult bottom. Like, bottom keep is gonna die, and they just have to accept it. They need to win a team fight here, and it's gonna be a really rough one without the 20s on the moon. Tyrell is a very aggressive position here. They have most of their team available. Sonya's
Find a good
putting
thing to
aggro.
engage. That will be the death of EnCore, but so far the ice wall hitting through there. The sanctification is used for nothing. Hunter Zero falling low. The Cataclysm will be there as well. A lot of damage put into the Valkyrie, hitting on Willy B, and the Ana is dead once again, but Graymin is actually the first death. Sonya is dead. Tyrell dead, and the Kalphas is the only survivor so far. Although Yibikasa continuing to engage on Slim, and EnCore are now going for the kill. GGVP comes out from Cafe as the Shrine Dutchman assess the situation and knows that they have no way out.
Yeah, again, just such good team fighting here from EnCore. The lineup they have assembled here is a really threatening one, and one I would never have just thought of myself, right? The amount of zone control they have in this team is pretty damn absurd, as well as all the wave clear they get outside of the shrine, so it's a very good lineup they have, and GG, EnCore wins 2-0 against the Trying Dutchman.
Well, that's a solid showing for EnCore. Unfortunately for the Shrine Dutchman, the road ends there, but if you got to the play of day, no matter how you played on the play of day itself, you have been better than a lot of other teams in those divisions, and you can definitely be proud of yourself.
Yeah, making playoffs is always a really, like, going into the group stages, that is an achievement on its own, and then making it into the final rounds is just, you know that you're among the best in your division, which is a pretty cool feeling to have. So congratulations to EnCore, condolences to Trying Dutchman, still a very nice performance. And coming up next on this channel, we have Owl Exterminators versus Hands Up. Very anticipated game, I've been told. So
this is gonna be spicy.
it is. Do you know what's happening on channel 1? Because I'm curious whether they are also done after 2 maps.
We do have Johnny Sins Bad Buddies playing against Jane as a Frost match. Aviator has called Johnny Sins Bad Buddies one of his 3 favorites for this whole competition. And Johnny Sins Bad Buddies have taken the first map and are now playing their second game on Dragonshire, a map which I have never been able to cast this season so far in the playoffs, but a map that I definitely would like to see because the amount of action that always happens there is just astounding.
Yeah, I love Dragonshire. It's probably my favorite map at the moment. It's just, yeah, it's just fun to like maneuver around and like barely getting there on time so that your bottom laner can like leave and then you stop them from capping the DK in the middle. Like, there's a lot of moments like that where you feel like, yes, we like balanced on a knife's edge and were able to pull it off. So I like the map. We'll see whether this next matchup will get us there. I am going to reset this overlay so we get the new teams up. We get some changes in that. So we will be right back. Hopefully this doesn't break. It worked fine before, but knock on wood, so I don't curse myself here. We will be back very, very shortly with a new game, All Exterminators versus Hands Up.
Stay tuned.